Hi everyone, I'm David Bacon, a customer success engineer based in London, where I've lived for my whole existence on this planet. And today I'll be talking to you about Algolia's query categorization feature. But a little bit about me first. I've been at Algolia for a few years now, but before that I actually had another life. I was a musician playing music to make people dance in different venues all around the world. But after a while, something funny happened. I started to wear glasses, and suddenly everything looked different. My focus shifted from melodies and rhythms to code and algorithms. And before I knew it, I traded in my trumpet for tech. Now, instead of tuning my instruments, I'm fine tuning search experiences here at Algolia. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about why I'm here today. So here's the agenda for this session. We're going to first dive into keyword search and limitations, then go on to explain what query categorization, or QCAT as you may hear me call it, is, and how it can help with intent understanding. And then lastly, I'll share some ideas for front-end customization. So some of you may already be thinking, hang on a minute, Mr. Bacon, you said you were born and bred in London, so why are you spelling customization with a Z? Well, to tell you the truth, Algolia made me. Plus, this is how it's spelt in the docs, and we all know that this is the worldwide source of truth, right? So let's talk intent understanding. Like most musicians, I like it when everything's in tune, right? My instruments just understand what I'm intending, whether I'm tinkling the ivories or even better, playing some jazz on my trumpet. When I'm searching for those right notes, I just want it to get me. But what happens when your search doesn't quite get you? It's like hitting the wrong chord, right? You notice it immediately and it can throw you off and frustrate you. So let me ask you this. How many of you have ever searched for something specific to buy online, like an iPhone, for example, and then you've been bombarded with accessories, watches, cases, whatever? It's frustrating, right? It's like the search engine isn't hearing you. It's not hearing what you're asking for. It doesn't get you. It doesn't understand the intention behind your query. In our fast-paced world of interactions on the internet, users are now expecting an instant and smooth search experience with, the most relevant results at the top. And the less time you spend sifting through the bad search results, the more time you have for playing your instruments, doing the things you really enjoy. You see, this is exactly where Algolia's query categorization steps in. So let's dive in now and see how we can turn a frustrating search experience into a seamless one and help users find exactly what they need, whether it's a brand new TV or even a shiny new trumpet. So the real heart of the issue here is the frustration of misunderstood search intent. So let's use an example most of us have likely experienced. Imagine for a minute it's payday. I should be so lucky. So you head to a website excited to find a brand new 4K TV. So you type in 4K TV, a pretty straightforward query, right? You'll see in this sandbox, which is an electronic marketplace demo, instead of being greeted with the best TVs available, you can see like things like HDMI cables, wall mounts, or in the first position, you can see that red remote case for an Apple TV. Well, it's important to note here that the search engine is actually doing its job. It's like following the rules of keyword matching, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. You can see like the yellow highlighting on the screen, which shows this. In other words, it's a feature, not a bug. But even though it's functioning correctly, the result is still far from ideal. I'm sure you'll agree. And that is, frustrating for users because we know what we're looking for. We're not being vague. In fact, 4K TV feels quite specific. It's got numbers and letters in of specific figures. So somehow, though, the search engine is not like hearing us. It's not understanding the intent. And in the words of U2, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Let's take a little peek now at the result set that we would actually want to see for this same query. Now, you can see the same query as 4K TV, but you're in the result sets at the top, you're only seeing 4K TVs, which is great. It understands my intent. So let's take a quick look into exactly why search engines often serve up results that technically match keywords, but don't understand our intent with an example. So why does this happen? Thinking back to the first result for query 4K TV, it was a red Apple TV remote. The issue here is that the search engine is designed to prioritize keyword matches. It looks at the words you typed, 4K, TV, and it's trying to find those products with those words within your searchable data. Let's dive into that data now and look closely at the JSON for the first record in first position. Remember, that was the red remote case. So this product is ranked in first place because it's got both of the words of the query, 4K and TV. And as you can see at the top of your screen, highlighted in yellow, there are no typos and they are adjacent to each other. Notice down the bottom that this record also belongs to the accessories remote control hierarchical category. If we now look closer in the get ranking info for this result, by the way, if you're not aware of get ranking info, it's an extra field that you can get in the response if you switch it on. On the screen now, you can see a QR code for the link to the documentation. It will take you straight there and show you how to do it. But now if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see that for that top record, we have 0 typos. The proximity distance is 1 because the 4K and TV were adjacent in the name attribute. And then you can see you have a number of exact words, 2. As I mentioned earlier, this is a feature, not a bug. The search engine is functioning exactly as it was designed to. It's doing a great job of matching those exact words and the words for your query. But the problem is it's not understanding the intention behind that query. So now that we understand the problem, I suppose the big question is, how do we fix it? How can we make sure that the search results are actually relevant to what users are intending, rather than just matching on keywords? So we could suggest a few solutions here, but as you'll see, they're not particularly practical. We could expect our users to type in like better or more specific queries. Well, that's just not realistic at all. Everyone on the internet searches in different kinds of ways, and doing something like training them or changing their query on the front end is not really a viable option. Secondly, should we ask website owners to rewrite all their product data to be more prescriptive and specific? Again, this is not really realistic. It requires a change in data and maybe engaging technical teams, which could cost time and money. Lastly, we could also patch it up with rules, Algolia rules, and filter out the accessories for queries which contain TV. However, if you think about this, it's really not a scalable and maintainable solution. But this is where Algolia comes in. The key to fixing this isn't asking users to change the queries or change the data. It's enabling a feature in the dashboard. Enter query categorization. Ta-da! Here's an overview of how we can get QCat working. So firstly, it's essential that you capture the events of your users on your site. It literally doesn't work without them. You have to have them. We have documentation which explains the minimum events required in the QR code on your screen now. The QCat model then ingests this real-world behavior in the form of events, clicks and conversions on your site. And once you have done that, the model is trained once you've set your category attribute. I'll show you this in the dashboard in a second. This attribute needs to be the one that best represents your categories. And then the model will use all of that information to make category predictions along with a confidence for that query. So then what will happen is QCat will automatically filter or boost for said query. So how do we set it up? Well, we need to go into the dashboard where QCat has its own section. And here you will find 5 tabs at the top. Today we're only going to talk about 2 of them because these 2 are directly related to the presentation. So this section has 2 main parts, index classification and another one underneath, which is categories of search API. So index classification, this is where you set the facet attribute which best represents your categories and the one that QCat's going to be trained on. Here you can see we have 4 levels of nested category data. By the way, you don't have to have hierarchical data structure. You can also have a flat array, which is absolutely fine. We have more information in the documentation which we can share with you. Down to the categories search with API toggle. Okay, so this is essential to toggle on should you want to expose this category prediction on the front end for customization, which I'll get to in a bit. So let's move along to settings. Okay, this is where you can have control over how you want QCat to be used. So you can choose whether you want to boost or filter results based on differing levels of confidence that comes back from our QCat AI model. So now that we understand a bit more about QCat and how it works, Let's see it in action with a before-after comparison. First with keyword search only, and then second with QCAT turned on. Now, if we remember, the keyword search for 4K TV was showing us things like accessories, but for the same query with the exact same data set, let's now see it where QCAT is enabled. As before, you can see the keyword matching highlighted in yellow, but this time it's also filtering down to the results to televisions and not accessories. In the dashboard, you'll remember that we toggled on the categories with Search API setting. Let's take a look at that. The object which returns in the search response after you toggle this on. And as you can see, it's called extensions.query categorization. Firstly, at the top, we can see that auto filtering is enabled true for this response. Then under that, we see the max depth of hierarchical categories, which is set at 5, which is the hard limit in the engine currently. And then down bottom, it states that the facet filters that are applied to this response are only televisions. And this is why we're only seeing televisions in the results set. Underneath that, you will see the optional filters, which is an empty array. This array would be used if you were boosting the products rather than filtering them. So in the same response, we can see that the model has come back with a confidence level of certain, and you can see that in the bin key value pair at the top. Then down the bottom, you can also see the depth level of 2 hierarchical categories, which is electronics, television, video, televisions. So for this query, what's really happening here is that QCAT has a confidence level of certain for this category. And this is mainly because the events which feed into the model are showing that the vast majority of people who are typing in 4K TV are clicking in and converting on the televisions category. So let's now look at the data inside the actual record, which was in first position. We can see at the top that it contains the keywords, which are highlighted in yellow. And you'll notice this time that there's a bigger proximity distance between the two words. Then further down, we can see the depth level 2 of the hierarchical categories televisions. Let's talk customization. As we've already seen, QCAT works its magic by applying auto filtering and boosting in the background. So you don't actually have to make any front end customizations for it to improve search relevance. However, because you can retrieve category predictions and other data directly in a search response, as I've just shown, you have the option to provide a signal to your user in the UI. This gives you the flexibility to build your own custom widgets and present the results in a way that best suits your users and your platform. So, we're going to pop over to our marketplace demo store and show an example of a customized widget our lovely demo engineering team made using this part of the response. So, I'm going to click in the search bar and I'm going to type in milk. Notice what happens within the autocomplete dropdown. We have 2 category predictions from QCAT under the best results in title. We've got grocery and gourmet food and then personal care. Now, I always feel like I could have a bit more smoother skin, so I'm going to click on personal care. So once I've clicked on that, notice that it's been added to the search bar. Once we click through from there, this takes us to the search results page with that filter already applied. So here, we're only going to see the relevant results for that query. Then obviously the user can choose to clear that filter, open up the results, or continue their journey from there. So to wrap things up, let's bring it back now to my second favorite thing in the world, music. Playing the right notes at the right time is essential for a harmonious performance. Similarly, delivering the right search results at the right moment is crucial for a seamless search experience. We started this session by identifying a keyword search limitation, matching exact words but missing the intent, leading to discordant results, like getting remote cases when we look for a 4K TV. And that's where QCAT steps in, acting like a conductor who ensures that every instrument comes in precisely when it should. It's using real-world data through insight events to understand what users are actually truly searching for. And it's orchestrating results that are perfectly in tune with user intent. We also then explored how QCAT is customizable, allowing you to compose your own unique search experience. With category predictions and confidence scores, you can guide your users smoothly through their search journey, reducing interaction costs and ensuring that they find exactly what they're looking for. So in essence, QCAT hits the right notes in the world of search, creating a harmonious and satisfying experience for users. It's not just about improving search, it's about delivering a performance that resonates with your audience. And that's why QCAT matters. Thank you for listening.